So we are here with Gina Sandí-Díaz, who is a theater professor at Fresno State and is here to talk about the latest Fresno State main stage play. Thanks for taking the time to talk with us on final dress rehearsal night, right?
Yes, very exciting.
So this play is called The Sins of Sor Juana.
Yes, correct.
Tell us about that title.
Yeah, so it's a story based on the life of Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz, which was a poet, literary figure, and pretty much a cultural icon in Mexico and Latin America. And she lived in the 17th century when women were didn't have much options, and she wasn't supposed to have an education. But this is a person that was very unique. She learned to read and write at the age of 3 by herself. When she was like 8 years old, she dressed as a boy to be able to enter a university campus. And because of that, her family supported her, sent her to the city, and she ends up being a part of the court in the New Spain of the time, and eventually becomes a nun and has the biggest library in the New World at the time. She owned the biggest library in her little room at the convent.
So I guess one important thing to note is that she had the support of her family.
Her mother,
at the beginning in terms of getting an education. So for that, she was extremely lucky.
Yes, absolutely. Her mother also gifted her a slave, which we believe there's a character in the play that is an indigenous character that we believe is a connection between this relationship that she had.
But at the same time, she knew that if she were to get married, most likely her husband, whoever her husband would be, would say no more books, no more
books.
reading.
Yeah. And motherhood would have been the next step.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Mm-hmm. At what age do we meet her in this production?
In this production, she would probably be around 16 years old.
Okay.
If realistically,
Sure.
Probably around 16 years old. Yes.
And does this follow, how many years of her life does this
So the
follow?
play doesn't move in a linear manner. It kind of looks at different aspects of her life. So there are moments when we are at the court, when we imagine she would have been a teenager. And then there are moments when we are at the convent, which was later on in her life. And she died being a part of that convent as well. And the play does take a look at her final moments as well. So it's not very age specific, but we are going through different aspects of her life.
Now, you mentioned she is this cultural icon. How do people know about her? Is it through her is it through her writings?
Her writing, yeah, her poetry specifically. So she has a very famous poem called Hombres Necios, translated into Foolish Men, which actually makes an appearance in the story. But other than that, she also wrote plays, and she wrote letters, lots of correspondence that has been published right now. One of the peso bills in Mexico.
So that's when you know you've really made it.
Yes, correct.
If you're a face on the
Her
bill.
face is on one of the bills in Mexico, one of the peso bills.
And does she represent a sense of female empowerment?
Absolutely. Many scholars consider her letter in response to Sor Filotea to be the first feminist manifesto because she makes an argument about humans being souls at the core and souls having no gender. And if that is the case, then we should all have the same access and to education and to everything, pretty much. There should be no difference between men and women.
So what made you pick this play?
Well, several reasons. First, I connect a lot with that figure, and I think a lot of us do. Just the power of having the courage to stand up for yourself and your values and your God-given gift, which she refers to her intellect as her God-given gift. And so the courage to stand up for that, regardless of what society is trying to impose over you, I think is a very contemporary message that a lot of us can relate to. And then it's a story that, of course, in age, it's similar to the age of our students, and I thought that it's a story that they would find also very inspiring and interested to play.
Can you tell us a little about your title character, your Sor Juana?
So Beyonce Rodriguez Favela is playing the role of Juana. She brings, well, her beautiful voice and presence on stage, but also like a sense of fierceness and power and independence that contemporary women will connect to, and that I believe are qualities that also Juana had for sure.
And how big is your cast? How many actors do you have?
We have a cast of 12. And there are some ensemble members and some leading roles and secondary roles. It's a big production with lots of moving pieces, beautifully designed by mostly students of our department. So light designer, sound designer, set designer, the costume design, all of those areas were done by students. And we have a lovely lobby exhibition with their work as well. So it has been a tremendous amount of collaboration across the different departments, all led by students, which is really interesting and gratifying.
And you mentioned that the playwright made some changes to the script
Yes.
just recently, because there was another production of this play in Fresno
Yeah.
a few years ago. I think it was 2019.
Yes, the original script, I believe, is from 2006. And so that's the production that was done in Fresno was with that script from 2006. And then she revised it and published it last year in 2024. And a lot of it's really small changes, not a lot of changes, but pretty much the character, the indigenous character, Xochitl, which is Juana's companion, is more relevant in the new adaptation. It has a more prominent role as somebody that carries some of Juana's legacy as well and protects it. So those are the major changes in the script.
Had you wanted to do this show for a while?
It's been in my drawer for sure.
Okay,
Yeah, as a
okay.
show that I potentially wanted to do. I've also never. It's not my style to do period style pieces, and so it was a challenge for me to make this production happen. And so it's been in the back of my head for a few years now.
It's a really fascinating time in history.
It is.
It really is. What would you like audiences to take away from this production?
I would hope that we feel inspired by her words. A lot of her poetry comes alive in the play, and so the use of language is beautiful. I think audiences are really going to enjoy the artistry. But I hope that we all leave with a sense of hope and a sense of courage to keep going, and no matter how dark times can become.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for bringing yet another intriguing, provoking play to the Fresno Theater audience.
Thank you. Thank you for having us and having a space for us to talk about it.